Not everyone is cut out to be a hero, risking their health and safety for the sake of another living being. At the same time, one can't predict how they'll behave in a critical situation. Will they give up everything to help someone in need, or quietly stand aside? The story we will tell you today is incredible because the good that the man did returned to him when he himself was in trouble. But let's start from the beginning. When Alex got a job as a huntsman guarding the taiga from bandits, he was such a principled and courageous person that he very quickly dispersed all those who were engaged in poaching. Even notorious villains were afraid of him, and soon perfect order reigned in his area. The locals were very pleased that Alex kept the peace and always came to him for help when it was needed. It was the beginning of the 2000s when lumberjacks especially prospered, who cut and exported wood without any permission in huge quantities. There was no government for them because they were backed by bigwigs who bought and paid for everything. Alex alone could not cope with them because they were well armed and there were a lot of them. The only thing the man could do was collect evidence of unauthorized deforestation and send all the evidence to the capital where this looting should certainly have been sorted out. One morning, he heard shots from the direction of the river in the forest. Without hesitation, he took his gun and rushed in that direction. Judging by the number of shots fired, they were not hunters who would waste that much ammo. When he got to the river, he saw a terrible thing. Spring was already beginning, the river was in flood, and huge ice floes were slowly moving downstream, breaking off one from the other. A bear with 2 cubs ran along one of these ice floes, and there were lumberjacks on the other side, shouting and laughing, firing at the poor animals with their weapons, and forcing them to run straight into the cold water's strong current. A moment later, dodging the shots, the she-bear, together with the cubs, fell into the water. She had enough strength to swim against the current and get ashore, but the cubs, floundering and crying, could not reach the shore. The cruel men on the other side of the river laughed at the poor animals and placed bets on who would make it to the shore and who would not. The she-bear roared plaintively on the shore, calling her cubs to her. Alex immediately threw off his heavy coat and boots and without hesitation rushed into the icy water. He reached the first cub, but there was no time to get him to the shore before trying to reach the second one. Luck was on Alex's side that day, and holding both cubs in one arm, he managed to pull them ashore. He did not even have time to get scared when the huge she-bear ran up to him. However, she did not touch him, as she understood that this brave man had just saved her beloved cubs. She disappeared into the forest with her cubs, and the frozen man returned home, trying for a long time to get warm. That day, he caught a severe cold, and for some time could not leave the house. When finally he recovered and went back on patrol, he saw with horror that the lumberjacks had mercilessly cut down the trees, leaving behind only stumps. Having taken a camera, Alex took photos of the atrocity in order to send to the authorities. But unfortunately, he was noticed and surrounded by those men. One of them took out a knife and began to attack him. The situation felt hopeless when suddenly a huge bear jumped out of the bushes. She tossed the bad men away with her paws one by one. Following her, 2 little bear cubs ran out. Alex recognized these 3 bears as those whom he had rescued from the water not so long ago. They heard his cry and they came to his aid. On that day, the she-bear repaid him for saving her cubs. Alex's photographs reached the proper authorities, and soon all the lumberjacks were arrested and imprisoned, and peace and order reigned in the forest again. So, friends, when nature saw that one person could not cope with their misfortune, it came to the aid of those who had risked their lives in order to save innocent souls. Take care of nature and its inhabitants, because we share this planet.